It's 4 o'clock. We'll call the park board meeting to order and start with roll call, please.
Burns. Mickelson.
Here.
Powell.
Here.
Miller.
Yes.
Scheit.
Here. Next is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do the kids still do that?
Next, we'll be looking for an approval of the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Awesome. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Next, we'll move to the consent calendar. Notice to the public, all matters listed are considered routine by the board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless good cause is shown prior to the time the board votes on the motion by roll call.
I will move to approve the consent calendar.
Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion about the consent calendar? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mickelson.
Here.
Powell.
Here.
Miller.
Yes.
Scheit.
Yes. All right. After that, we have the public forum. Time for citizens to bring matters not on the agenda to the attention of the board. Time limits may be imposed.
You'll need it.
Oh, boy.
Dave Bideau, Executive Director, Brainerd Community Action, 321 South 7th Street. I come before you today with a request. We are getting ready for our summer events, one of which, as you know, is Arts in the Park at Gregory Park. Over the last couple of years, we've along the sidewalks, we've had some degradation of the soil that is creating a little bit of a lip next to the sidewalk where the dirt and the grass is not quite reaching up to that level. And just from an overabundance of safety, our organization would like to request from you guys that we be allowed to purchase some dirt and have a company come in and lay some black dirt along the sidewalks there and then have it seeded. I had a conversation with Engineer Dean yesterday, and from his perspective, he believes it would probably be best to have city staff do the hydro seeding, but we would like to cover that cost as well. Just as a user of the park, as someone that holds probably the biggest event that's in that park, we understand that over the last 50 years, we've probably added to some of that foot traffic and whatnot on that sidewalk. But just out of over an abundance of care, just to make sure that we're having a nice facility there. Specifically, what we are looking at is the southeast spoke of the sidewalks. So as you're facing, if you're standing next to the fountain, to your right, if you're facing north, obviously, it's a long spoke that is about 350, 400 feet probably. And we're just looking to do the area next to the sidewalk, probably, skid steer wide, roughly on both sides. There is another area that is on the east spoke that I'm getting a quote on as well, where it's a natural depression. If you're looking at it, it looks like maybe there was a creek or something in there a long, long time ago. I think you know what it is. The sidewalk kind of goes down a little bit, but there's a specific spot there that has a little bit of a hump that is somewhat of an issue for people when they're trying to have a booth there. I'm getting a quote to see what it would cost to maybe just push that hump over a little bit and then fill a little bit of dirt in there as well. But that would be additional. I don't know if the bigger thing I'm interested in is that southeast spoke. And if that other thing comes back and it's not a gazillion dollars to put a little bit of dirt and, level that part off as well, we would do that as well. But don't want to do it at any cost to the city. However, after talking with Mr. Dean, usage of the staff for the seating would probably be a part of the request as well.
Questions for Dave or for staff? I have a couple. Jesse, how feasible is it for us to water that seed? I know there's probably a hose on the warming house, but
So that'll be a couple of the different options that we look at. Is if we were to do hand seeding, we would have to find a way to run water and sprinklers from the distance. We do have a hydro seeder. It's a little bit smaller of a of a piece of equipment. So depending on how much seating we're talking about, that might be the better option too. So we're looking into those options. The hydro seeder won't need regular watering and holds moisture a lot better.
Oh, cool.
So
Awesome. Yeah, just so we seed it and then it thrives. Big fan of that. Cool.
hopefully, as long as it's not a drought or anything.
Yeah, if I got to stand there with a hose, I'll stand there with a hose. We just would like to, again, as stewards of the park, and this is a fundraiser, it is our biggest fundraiser of the year, and there are a lot of people that come through there, and we've done it for 50 years. So we understand that there is some, there's some usage there that does some degradation, and that specific sidewalk would be where we'd like to start, and then hopefully if that works, we'd like to continue to kind of give back a little bit each year to that park to just keep it up in a clean area in terms of the best usage for us. Wink, wink.
Awesome. Jesse, would that be on next month's agenda?
Yeah, we can put a formal item together for the park board.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. An actual public forum today. Anything for you? All good. Cool. Anybody online for this, Max? It looks like our skate folks. Perfect. All right, we will close the public forum at 4:06. Move on to item 7A, unfinished business, the deed grant for the Memorial Skate Park. Assume James.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Jake Renneker from the Lakes Area Skate Park Association presented a proposal for a skate park in Memorial Park at the December 19th, 2023 Park Board meeting. The Park Board reviewed the plans and directed staff to work with the proposer. A 2025 bonding bill allocated $750,000 towards the construction of a skate park in Memorial Park. Skate Park Association has also raised about $120,000 through local donations and events. Skate Park Association is requesting $200,000 in additional funds from the Park Board for the construction of a 15,000 square foot regional skate park. Jake is online to present the association's request. The Skate Park Association would like to begin construction in 2027. In order for distribution of the $750,000 in allocated funds in the bonding bill, the Park Board and City Council must authorize submittal of an application to deed. The blank application was included in the packet. So staff would like the board to consider the Skate Park Association's request for additional funds and make a decision after hearing from the proposer. And then a motion to authorize staff to complete the application to deed and to bring it back for final consideration. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jake.
Thanks, James.
Hey guys, it's Jake with the skate park here. Glad to be back here to see you guys again. I apologize for not being in person, but I appreciate the accommodations to meet remotely here. Jesse, did you have is there a slideshow? Did you get that slideshow link?
Yeah, it's the ones in the packet.
Did you, is there a slideshow being presented on the screen, do you know?
If you have the packet, I can resend the PowerPoint over to Max really quick.
Okay. But I can get started here anyways, but essentially I had like a slideshow put together with some stuff there, but first off, we just want to show our immense gratitude for the park board's support from the very, very beginning. Like seriously, you guys have been there every step of the way, and you guys have believed in us, and we really, really appreciate that fact. So we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys helping along. So we wanna also thank you for letting us build the skate park or have designation at Memorial Park. It is the absolute perfect location, and everyone seems to always say that it's a great location. But anyways, we've been hard at work raising funds for the skate park project, as you guys know, and we've been still doing that. I think since 2021, we've been raising some funds. And we've gotten a ton of support from our community through volunteers and in our community, of course, and over 50 organizations, which we're really thrilled about. So we've raised about $120,000 through grassroots efforts, and that's been a really good, amazing collaborative effort through the city. And that's been through events, service work, and donations and grants. So you can go to the next slide there, and then looks like, yep, that's it right there. So yeah, so $120,000, which we're really, really thrilled about, and it's been a great community effort. And then next slide, please. So because of our hard work, the state of Minnesota noticed what we had going on with all the fundraising and with your guys' support. Minnesota put together a grant program for skate parks, and multiple grants were awarded, I believe, last year, and that was statewide. And with the help of City of Skate, and Paul's on the line with us right now, with the help of him and City of Skate, our project received $750,000 grant from the state. So it's pretty incredible. And that's the largest grant out of all the grants that were given for skate parks, and it's unbelievable that we received that money. So they definitely saw value in our project that we have going on and support from you guys in the city. So we're very excited and very, very grateful for that sum of money, which brings our total to $870,000. So we're so close. We are so close to making this skate park happen. Next slide, please. So we are shooting for a 15,000 square foot skate park. That's kind of what we've had in our minds from the very beginning, which will definitely be great for our community and be large enough to handle all our citizens and tourists and everything. And we need to figure out the space at Memorial Park. And right on where Mill Avenue there is in Q Street, where they intersect, that's kind of where we're thinking the skate park's going to go. And I believe you guys were thinking that as well. So essentially, we got to figure out what we're going to do for the skate park there, because essentially there needs to be two entrances for a fire truck turnaround. And right now there's an entrance on Q Street there, and then one on Mill Avenue, as we all know. So essentially there's the two designs. And the first design is having like a one-way going around the skate park where you can still exit on Q Street. Lose some green space and lose some potential lighting space there. And then the second option is if there is a second, entrance put on Mill Avenue, and that has to be approved by the county, unfortunately. But we definitely like the second option because we can do the green space all the way around. We can do lights all the way around the skate park and won't have to make room for the one-way there to Q Street. But of course, that I'm sure will be figured out here as we go. But next slide, please. So there are three price breakdowns here, and that is the skate park is going to be the same, but it's about the lighting. And the lighting is where we're trying to figure out what is best. So the three budgets that we kind of came up with was the number one there for the six full light package. That would be a full set. That was this was estimated by a lighting company. So that would be about $180,000 for the lights alone, which is a large sum of money, which would put our budget at about $1.2 million. And then we have the second option, which is two lights. So we at least have some light there, with conduit for the other four lights in the future. And that's about $85,000 for the lights, the lighting package, and the conduit. That'd be about $1.1 million budget or so. And then the next option is no lights. And that would be just the conduit for the six lights and making plans for that in the future. And that's about $25,000 or so we're estimating for the conduit. And that's about $1 million budget or so, a little more than $1 million. So the six lights, like I mentioned, are going to be very hard to fund, but we feel like the best option would be finding a way to get the two lights and then get the conduit in there so it's all easy and we can throw lights up in the future for the other four lights when it comes time. And if we're really short on funds, we'd at least have the conduit put in for the six lights initially for future lighting, and hopefully it depends on everyone's opinion to if the lighting from Mill Avenue would be enough lighting for security in the meantime until we can plan for the couple lights in the future and build on that. But this is all up for discussion as well on your guys' opinions. All right, next slide, please. So now to fund the 15,000 square foot skate park, we will continue fundraising through 2026. We're definitely going to put our pedal to the metal. And our goal is we're hoping for, we're looking at $1.1 million budget. So we can get those lighting and get a good sized skate park that we're looking at there. We think we can raise $80,000 through grants, events, and donations through the life of the project. And in order to reach our financial goal, we definitely are requesting your continued support. Please, please, please. We'd really appreciate that. And we can hit our goal if you'd be willing to make a $200,000 match. And your financial support would bring one of the largest and best recreation facilities to Minnesota, bringing an even bigger draw to the Brainerd area for tourists and stuff. So we're shooting for that. Next slide, please. So we are asking for you to help us make the final push. Let's get this skate park built in 2027. Thank you guys so much for having me. And I've got Paul on the line here from City Skate. Paul, you want to add a couple things?
Sure, yeah. First of all, thanks for letting me join the meeting. I'm with Paul Forsley. I'm with City of Skate. We are a nonprofit organization operating out of Minneapolis, but we work on projects throughout the state. We actually initiated the skate grant program at the state level, knowing that there was communities like yours who needed assistance funding high quality skate parks and facilities. And so that's something we've worked on for the last 8 years. So it was nice to finally get it across the finish line in 2025. And our goals is really, our theory at City of Skate, when, by the way, we've worked on numerous other skate parks, not only Minneapolis, but St. Paul and some of the suburbs. And we're actually advising some of the other grantees that were awarded state grants as well. But we really think the best way to a quality skate park is having everybody have a little skin in the game. And your group, I have to say, by the way, Jake and the Lakes Area Skate Group, one of the reasons Brainerd was awarded the largest grant was just recognizing the hard work they've done and the really great organizing they did and the outreach they did within your community. It's hard to raise $100,000 for a skate park, and just like a lot of other recreational facilities, they aren't cheap, right? Whether you're talking swimming pools, quality ball fields, what have you, hockey arenas, they're not cheap. So the skate grants from the state, we're hoping to really put you over that hurdle, as well as hopefully bring other resources into the project. And we find the more people involved in the project, the higher success rate there is as far as a fully completed and realized skate park. So we're here to help to assist. And one thing I can answer any questions as far as the state grant program, how it came about, what it's there for. I will add just one thing for you to recognize is within the grant program at the state level, there's language in there that allows your project to go forward as a design build project. And what that does is for you to designate the area, which you already have, give a budget, put the project out as a design build project, which is going to really bring you some value in who you get to do that, as well as a quality level, especially in the skateboard design build market. Projects that are design build projects are definitely looked as favorable from the builders because there's an interest there. That not only do they design the project, but they're building the project, and it really streamlines the process and again assures that higher quality project and outcome. So congratulations to your community. I hope you're excited about $750,000 grant. It's pretty great. It's the first time there's no state in the country that's put out state skate park grants like this, and so we're hoping, as City of Skate, we're hoping we have a long list of other communities that are need help. We're hoping to be back at the legislature. We're back there this year. We'll see which way the political winds go, but we're definitely hoping in the years ahead we have more grants coming out for other communities. And we hope we can point to Brainerd as an example of how it's done and what an asset it is to your community.
Thank you, Paul.
Perfect. Thank you both. For questions from the board for Jake and Paul or staff.
Questions?
Sure. So thank you both. I am super excited about the skate park. I'm also the Debbie Downer of the board as the budget nerd. To be very honest, we don't have $200,000. If we did, there's a lot of buildings that are practically falling down that we would need to prioritize. I would love to make that contribution. I think just looking at our capital budget for Memorial Park, right, we had a kid put their foot through the playground at the park last summer, so we're working on replacing that this year. We also have $75,000 allocated to convert the parking lot as part of the development. And so I think, right, our kind of budgeting process with working with the council, right, we would ask them this fall, this late summer fall, for money in 2028. So we would need to go to the council July, August, September and say, hey, we're looking for $200,000 for the skate park. The earliest they would consider that would be 2028. And we have to weigh that against the rest of the city budget, which has, I'll say, tightened up in the past few years, and we've had our budget cut as a result of, right, all those priorities. So I guess, right, I would love to just say, yep, we can do that. Let's get it going. I think, unfortunately, at least from my perspective, I don't think we could even really ask the council successfully. I think that would sort of hurt our application for other capital improvement funds for things that are kind of falling apart in our parks. So that's, unfortunately, I think where our budget is at. But I would look to other board members for their thoughts, because I think I am feeling negative, but I don't want to be.
Yeah, certainly. And I think, Jake, you and I, of course, have interacted a lot about this over for the years here, Sue. It's one of those things where the skate park is huge. It's a big project, and it's really important to, what the outlook of the park and how we've kind of designed it. But to echo Andrew, we just don't have the money. I think a general sentiment, if we were to go to request from council, again, given our process, first of all, we wouldn't have it within 2 years. And second of all, I think the general sentiment here is that we have a lot of services across the city that need the funding more than the park system does, maybe. I mean, by just general council sentiment. And I also feel like, to Andrew's point, the parking lot development, the amount of staff time that we've worked to try to put a lot of the things in kind, we've, as a board and as a department, have put in a significant amount of work trying to do this. And I think we try to set expectations early on in this process as well, just saying, hey, when we began our capital budget planning, we're not going to have any money for any new construction across the entire system. And that's held true for us specifically. We've really just been replacing amenities. So again, applaud you on all the fundraising and things like that, but I have to echo Andrew on this. Not only do we just not have the money, but I feel like the request for a contribution of that size would maybe not go super well, not simply because of negative sentiment, but because of our budgeting process and the amount of contribution that the city has made in kind for this entire process, and the development that money we've set aside to improve the parking lot around the park as well. So. I'm going to have to be with Andrew on this one. Again, I don't want to be negative. I mean, you guys have done an incredible job, and that's a lot of money from the state of Minnesota to prop us up. But, I have to echo Andrew on this one. We just don't have the money.
Well, please go.
I guess I'm kind of on the same page too. It's a great opportunity, but that's a lot of money that we don't have.
Yeah, right. We've got the money set aside for the parking lot. If we can do that cheaper, it's less expensive than we thought. I think I would be in favor of putting the remainder towards the skate park. But again, that's an order of magnitude less than you're looking for, which I get. I wonder if there's any way we could help partner for some things to reduce costs. For your lighting discussion, BPU came to mind. If we could reach out to them and say, hey, could we do street lights? as some lighting options that might be more efficient than I think the Musco lighting, if we could make that equivalent and still useful. But I want to make this happen. We don't have the money. I wish, I think if we could budget for this over 5 or 6 years and say, hey, council, we want 20 or 30,000 a year, that would be a more palatable ask. But this would already increase our kind of maintenance request by about 5%, which I think we're totally willing to do. That's certainly something we want to do, is to maintain this facility. But the initial ask is a big lift for us, unfortunately. So I guess, James, do you see any ways we can help as a board or try to reduce costs or find cost savings? Maybe Jesse too.
I'll just highlight the one comment you had regarding the lighting. The proposal that you have in the packet, or the proposals, I suppose, are from Musco. Obviously very specialized in sports and athletic lighting. This would be the most appropriate for that type of facility. We can explore getting a price proposal from the BPU staff to install something along the lines of street lighting along that area. However, it definitely will not be as effective as sport and athletic lighting as regards to how it would cast onto the facility, if it would provide the appropriate lighting levels. So it is something that we can explore. Likely would be less cost compared to the Musco proposal. But you'll definitely sacrifice probably some of the lighting quality that is desired for that type of facility.
Sure, yeah, if it's not appropriate, I don't think we want to force it.
Well, that, and I mean, liabilities and things like that. I mean, I don't know, like, what the city would be responsible for if somebody got hurt, I guess, in the evening hours, I don't know necessarily. I mean, I applaud the thought. I mean, it's a great idea. And I mean, I think part of the conversation was, like, we'll go without lights if we have to, just to try to do some cost savings. So I think it is worth an exploration, at least from a security standpoint. Like, if we're going to say, like, you can't skate after dark because there's just no lighting there, I mean, it is what it is. And we're just going to try to get it done and figure it out afterwards. But I think if we do go that route, we probably should explore street lighting just for protecting the asset in general. So I think, that's not unreasonable. So to at least explore.
Yeah, I think, right, once it is constructed, we have agreements with the Baseball Association, I think the Soccer Association, for advertising at facilities they use. I think we'd certainly be open to that to help you raise money once it's open. But again, that doesn't help, right, where you are today if you need to build it and get it open in the first place. If you want to use parks for fundraising events, I think we're certainly open for that as well. But yeah, I wish we could help more. But we are just about to start our own process of confronting the things we need to fix throughout our system in the next couple of months. So, yeah, I guess, James, you have any kind of next step?
Yeah, so with the discussion here, next steps might be best for us to have a staff meeting with City of Skate as well as the Skate Park Association to figure out, we can certainly explore the options of, potentially partnering with BPU or looking at alternative lighting options, come up with, potentially options for the park board to consider, as well as, perhaps there's some things that could be downsized slightly. So I think before we'd fill out the deed application, having a meeting, in this next month here with the Skate Park Association, I think would be beneficial before going forward on the application.
Awesome. Yeah. Is there a way to kind of phase the construction? Say, hey, we're going to reserve, right, the 100 by 150 space, but we're going to do, amenities A, B, C, and D, but not E and F yet?
Paul, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I'd just say, just to chime in, I think, as James said, it'd probably be prudent to go forward with the deed and get that in place. The grant, there's a number of years to make use of the grant. It doesn't have to be used necessarily right away next year. But again, I guess back to that design build, as long as you have the footprint of what you're going to work with, you could put it out as a design build with an option. Option A is the money we have right now, with a potential, if more money is raised, here's what could be added on as well. And that would be another really advantageous thing with pursuing this as a design build contract that you'll be working with the designer and the builders at the same time. So even if money came in at the last minute, whether it be privately or publicly, they'd be able to pivot and add on or facilitate a more fuller skate park, at that time. So that would be one thing. And I guess, I know everybody's CIPs all around the state are tight right now, municipalities. And I think Jake and James's intention too is maybe just to plant the seed. If something's changed. I know in city government, sometimes projects you think are going forward and they're funded, all of a sudden something comes up and that money's not going to be spent in 2027 or 2028. And just for you as elected officials to know that, hey, this project's here. It could go really fast. If the money's there, it's there. So I think we fully understand, where people's cities' budgets, municipalities' budgets are at right now. And for something last minute, what seems very last minute to use, it's difficult to do. But again, it's just to raise your awareness that this project's here. It's moving forward and it can be incrementally done. And if money does come available, you can always use a little more money.
Perfect. Yeah, so James, if this come back, oh boy, next month or, the month.
Yep, I would say probably next month or the month after, we'll have another kind of update on it and consideration from the park board.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. And thank you both for joining today. We appreciate your input. Again, sorry, I wish it was a more pleasant conversation, but I'm really excited about this still. I think the whole board is, and there's things we can do to help. We definitely want to. So.
Thanks for your time.
Great. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Item 7B, award proposal for the Lions Park sidewalk. Jesse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We went out and requested proposals for the additional sidewalk at Lions Park. We received one proposal from Lynn Masonry for that sidewalk based on their proposal of $7.50 per square foot and the square footage that was estimated. Work is estimated to be about approximately $10,000. We're requesting approval from the park board to award the proposal to Lynn Masonry in the amount of $7.50 per square foot for that new proposed sidewalk.
Thank you, Jesse. Any questions for staff?
I'm not a measurer of things. This is just with the 8 foot, right, that we kind of talked about. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. The diagram looked good, but could have failed geometry. I don't know.
Jesse, I think I see the little bump out. Yeah, the 9 foot right by that's kind of what we talked about.
Exactly. Yep.
And this includes the bollards? I assume those are.
Does not. We would do that with city staff, city maintenance staff. So this is just
okay.
for the sidewalk.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I think seems.
Yeah, I'm gonna move to approve the proposal from Lynn Masonry for $7.50 per square foot.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Sidewalk. Item 7C, other ADA improvements. Jesse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just kind of a follow-up to the previous item now. So we're bringing back the discussion regarding the other planned ADA improvements. Understanding that there was approximately $45,000 with that award, that lowers it to about $35,000 now. Did include some of the discussion regarding a potential layout for the sidewalk and memorial. Staff is still recommending the sidewalk and pedestrian ramps at Lum Park, just based on the improvements previously as well as planned, but are looking for direction from the park board on how do you like to proceed with the remaining $88.
Thank you. Questions for Jesse? I really appreciate the photos with the added sidewalk. That's helpful. Seeing it, I still kind of hate it, but I appreciate you creating that visualization for me to understand that more fully. So I'm certainly in favor of the Lum sidewalk, but would love other folks' thoughts. I know this is a contentious.
Yeah, no, I still think it. I still think that sidewalk's hideous, or would be hideous. And again, I mean, the amount of like, I mean, the trees are going to grow, roots are going to grow around that over the years and destroy the sidewalk anyway. I mean, and we want to keep the trees, and so the trees are the preference over the sidewalk, and so, you know, I'm still. It's nice to see what it would look like, and yep, just as I thought, horrible. So, so I'm in favor of the Lum Park sidewalk as well. So.
Any other thoughts, or anyone want to attempt a motion?
Yeah, I'll just make a motion to approve the improvements at Lum Park laid out as attached.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That Lum Park sidewalk is approved. Then we'll go to item 8A, new business of benches. Jesse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we are requesting Park Board authorize an alternative vendor for our memorial benches. We've had multiple issues of misspellings, missed shipments, half shipments, just some poor overall service with the folks that we use currently. So staff has worked through looking at alternative vendors for memorial benches, as well as just alternative like designs and structures and stuff like that for memorial benches. We've included several options, both as vendors and options for discussion, and just looking for directions on the park board from the items that are included in the alternative section, those numbers 1 through 5, and looking for direction from the park board. And I don't know if you had anything further. Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Jesse.
My primary comment is I hate the look of every single one of the memorial benches, like ones that would have words on them, like across all vendors, or both vendors. So I don't know. I mean, as far as benches are concerned, they're very nice benches, some of the nicest. But putting letters on them, I really like the benches as they are now. And I didn't see across a lot of these. I mean, again, I saw ones that had like a small carve out with lettering on it, or like a stuck-on piece of metal, but you know, if somebody's going to pay serious dough for a bench, I kind of want it similar, and I just didn't see anything that was comparable in the packet. And I could very well be wrong, but I didn't really care for the actual memorial part of it. That was my only comment. Otherwise, I think, again, the benches look great. There just isn't any, like, dedicated to, you know, like people paying money to have somebody's name on it, like the benches that are now. They're really effective. They look great with people's names on them, and it's a good tribute as far as the bench is concerned. So.
Yeah, I mostly agree with you. I think the cutouts get a little gross throughout the year, like especially the spring and Gregory, the pollen kind of adheres in such a way that it's like a 90s word art effect from Word. And so the plaque, I think, would handle that better, but also to your point, you got to like walk up to the bench and see what this 6-inch plaque is about. But like also it doesn't seem like our current vendor is sustainable. So that is a bummer, but you don't really need to ship us a typo. Oh, one of the St. Croix ones has yeah. Max, if you could go to page 103, it's the bottom middle, kind of with the snow around it.
Is that kind of like the ones that are at Gregory right now?
The options. Okay, very good.
Yeah. Yeah, that one. Thank you.
So is the one next to it engraved, or is that just like I mean, because in black and white it looked.
Oh, that is a serious.
Yeah, that's very
wow.
serious. But yeah.
There's a drought. I think you would actually get like the shadow stencil.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. But yeah, okay. So St. Croix does have an option. I just it's pretty ugly too, by my comparison. Again, I'm trying to compare it to our current bench, and I understand it's unrealistic because it's our current bench, and we can't have it anymore. But I don't know. I think
My fear with the plaque that's added to it is that there's potential for that to get removed, and then once it's removed, what are we doing then at that point? You know, like the kind of the point of the memorial benches is they are there for the useful life of the bench. But if the plaque can be removed, the bench is still useful, but then are we paying to replace the plaque? And are we in a position to do that would be my fear with it. Like, once these go in, I would hope that they would be something that are there for its useful life, and then once it's done, it's removed, which is what the park board has stated with its policy. I'd be fearful of anything that you could potentially have to go mend in the life of the bench. So, and I know we have that with a couple of the things at the splash pad. There's a couple of plaques that are on the thing that I don't want to say it out loud, but probably take a screwdriver to that and pop it off there, and then we got to replace it. So that would be my only fear with something like that.
Yeah, this one I think is my favorite, even though it doesn't have armrests. I like the recycled plastic over the metal ones, both for heat, and I think it just blends into the park a little bit better. Jesse, do you know, is there, I didn't see any looking through, like that recycled plastic style, but with armrests on the side? It was like the one combination I couldn't find, which was improbable.
We can check with St. Croix on that matter. We're not 100% sure and could advise, but we can look into that with St. Croix.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it looks like there's a billion options, so that seems fair. That would, I think, be my preference. We could keep, to Dave's point, the permanent memorialization, we're going to say that's a word, of whoever purchased it, and it kind of fits the style of our existing benches, so it doesn't stand out as much. It's like, oh, you have an old bench, and you have a new bench. So that would be my vote. If we can get armrests, I think all the better, to help with accessibility for folks.
the current ones don't have armrests, though, right?
No.
Okay. Upgrade.
Yeah, I think that would be nice. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, next step would just be, can you just look into what all of the recycled plastic engraving options would be then for us? Just to try to match what we've got as best as we can.
I think we've received enough comments from the park board that we could go back to, if the preferred vendor is St. Croix, which is similar to what we use for a vendor on other, like the playgrounds, for instance, in our design standard, we can explore getting a more refined set of options for the park board to take a look at.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Thank you for pulling all that together. That's, I assume you get a lot of emails you wish you didn't now, so.
You're on a few lists.
Bench enthusiast mailing list. All right. Item 8B, 2026 tree plantings proposal, the memorial glow up. Jesse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we received 2 proposals for tree plantings in Memorial Park. Attached are the proposals from Doucette's and Landsberg, which are the 2. Doucette's was the low proposal based on the total amount. The staff is recommending award to Doucette's with the additional 5 Norway pines that we would place along Mill Avenue, just to expend up to, but not exceeding the $25,000 that we have in the budget. Based on their proposal, we're estimating that just to be under $24,000 with the additional 5 Norway pines, and looking for authorization and approval from the park board to award as presented.
Cool. Questions or thoughts on the trees and the grasses?
Significant difference? Or no, not really, right? I mean, it was, because there's a few things on the invoice that are not us, right? Because these invoices are for 44,854 and 47,437. So some of those are not us, right? It's just the pines and the grass. That's what
Correct.
we've
For
added
the,
up. Okay.
for economy of scale gains, we combined the proposal with the street trees. So.
makes sense.
It is a one proposal piece.
I'll say it's so about a $2,600 difference between the two. Sure. Okay. Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the proposal from Doucette's Landscaping.
I'll second that.
Cool. I just have one discussion item. I think knowing the skate park would be roughly 150 feet from Q to like north in the parking lot, I would think we'd want to leave that without trees to make it a little more visible from the road. And to your point earlier, Jonathan, about kind of the asset protection, if you're screened off by pine trees, it could be lit to high heaven and nobody's going to be able to see the kid with his can of spray paint. That'd be my only thought, is leaving a gap there.
Sure, a little gapper. Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. I think, if we approve this, you guys can still have a discussion with the skate park about that lighting. And if we decide to move, like, do we have to get these trees planted like before next month?
No, we don't. I'll just note that in that layout, just trying to pull two things together at the same time, but you'll see this compared to the layout that they had in the presentation from the skate park. There are no planned plantings within the area that the skate park is laid out in their proposal. We're essentially starting from that light pole, moving to the north, and that wouldn't conflict with what they're looking to put in. We have had discussions with the county regarding a secondary access. They like to see us keep the one on Q Street. So that would be something that we'd work with the skate park group on, is finding a layout that maintains access via Q, whether that be the existing access location or sliding it slightly to the east, maybe to accommodate differently. But the county would not like to see another access off a mill. So we can feather the additional 5 trees kind of in between to match that same 25-foot spacing versus the 50-foot spacing that you're seeing here, while still not impacting the potential layout for the skate park.
Cool. I just didn't know if like the extra 5 would just keep going south from the map. So that's awesome. Thank you. Something I just thought of when you were saying that, Jesse. One thing that might be helpful for the next conversation about the skate park is when Q Street would be up for any kind of road work. Not for a while.
It's not on our 10-year plan right now.
Okay. That answers that. Thank you. Cool. That was totally unrelated, though. Probably shouldn't have done that. But I guess I'm the chair. So anyway, any other discussion on the trees and the grasses? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We've approved the trees. All right. 8C, TWM Architecture's plan for the Lund Park Shower Building.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we received a proposal from TWM Architecture for design services for the planned 2027 rehab of the Lund Park Shower Building. Very similar scope to what we included at the Kiwanis Park Pavilion and restrooms over in 2022. Based on some of the comments that we've received from park visitors as well as maintenance staff, we do have issues with kind of that shared shower space and how that entry works. We've had different things like vandalization and other issues. So we did ask for not only the base proposal, which we've included in here, which is 5,500, which is essentially the same scope as Kiwanis. We did ask for a secondary alternative proposal to include design services to add an alternative separate shower entry. The showers would be connected. We'd still have them connected, available for people to go between the two, lavatories and showers, but having a separate specific entry for the showers specifically on that side of the building. So that's what we're looking for Park Board right now, is to award the design proposal for one of the two proposals, either the 5,500 for the base proposal or 7,500 to include the additional design services to look at alternative separate entry for the showers. And just a reminder, we have 110,000 planned in the capital budget for that work.
Thoughts, discussion? We've got a couple. Thank you so much for planning ahead on this and getting a number, well, because we get like a project estimate as part of this, right?
We would work within the budget and scope the work to fit the budget.
Oh, sure. Okay, cool. And then the thought with the alternate entrance, like when the public restrooms are closed, then campers could still get into the showers, but not.
I think that was part of the intent.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds great. And anything that reduces vandalism and maintenance there is good. Yeah, this seems great to me.
Yeah, I don't think the $2,000 is really all that much of a waste just to check in on, those options, I guess. I think that was the only real sticking point for me was like an extra 2 Gs for like access to showers that, I don't know how much really they're getting after hour or after restroom hour use, but, I don't think it can hurt to at least take a gander.
Cool.
So I will make a motion to approve the design proposal from TWM Architecture to include both the remodel of the Lum Park shower building and include the design for alternate entry to the showers.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is approved. 8D, epoxy coating of concession stands and bathrooms. Jesse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we received proposals from Erlinson Epoxy. They've done previous work for us with epoxy coatings on our floors. We've asked for several buildings in the park system. The total of all the proposals that were received was about $14,786.60. Just note this is around 20% of our full year's maintenance and repair budget, so this could have an effect on how much maintenance and repair could be done later on in the year based on how much we have in remaining funds. So we did put together an alternative option to take a look at as well, just to consider only addressing the concession stand at JC's as well as the restrooms at Memorial and Lyman P. White. Just those facilities would be about $9,282. The remaining facilities we could include with the requested budget in 2027. So staff is looking for direction on one of the options listed.
Thank you. Questions, comments?
Do we have tens of thousands of dollars available from our concession profits for last year so we can pay for our concession stand at least?
We typically cannot carry that
Okay.
funds over from year to year.
Very good. I was looking at it. I mean, I think a lot of this conversation came from, especially the Lyman P. White Park, because that cement. I mean, we're 2 years into this thing, and it's pretty gross in the restrooms. So I think if we're not going to, I mean, it's tough to do it all at once, right? Because we don't want to burn it this early, but. Just doing the higher volume parks first, right? Like Lyman P. and Memorial. And then, I mean, looking at JC's concessions, again, we've talked about this a lot because it's such a huge project, but what is our concession plan specifically at JC's Park and event hosting looking like? I mean, are we going to get a lot of mileage out of this concession stand this summer? Or, I mean, because I mean, it is the most expensive piece on this. And so if we're not using it, and the restrooms are seeing a lot of use, which again, you look at Kiwanis, you look at Lyman P. and Memorial, Kiwanis is a relatively new structure as well. So keeping track of that cement floor and not having it get nasty like some of these parks have been. Does seem like a higher priority to me. So when I was looking at it, if we're less inclined to do the full amount, looking just at utilization from top to bottom, and then where the biggest volume and the biggest opportunities are going to be. And I don't know, as far as event planning and, what we're going to be hosting over the year, if we're going to even come remotely close to the type, we won't come close to the Memorial Park volume and concessions. I don't see that as a possibility, but, what are we missing out on if we don't do concessions there? And then, looking at, again, volume in Kiwanis, Lions Park, Lyman P, and Memorial. So, again, if we were going to put anything on hold, it'd probably be concessions there, barring any staff input. And then if we were going to, try to do half now, half later, I'd probably also shave Lions Park and handle the other three. But, again, that's kind of my opinion. And, again, I don't know what the opinion of staff is on JC's concessions this year.
Mr. Chair, so just a quick, on that piece of it, I'll let Kayla talk about the quantity and the frequency of use in there. I do know that the Department of Health, as a permitted facility, does inspect that, and based on the requirements that they have, this addresses some of those pieces. Not having it does put it at risk for potential fines from the MDH if it is found out of compliance as a permitted facility if we do utilize it. So that is something that they would look at. So that is a risk that we do have with a permitted facility such as that under state regulation. I'll let Kayla talk a little bit about frequency of use.
For JC's concessions, it was about 3 weekends last year, and more than likely will be the same for this year.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, like I said, it's just general sentiment. Like, if we want to just drop the whole 15,000 and get it done in one whack and we're good, that was the thought. But, if we want to shove some over to next year, that was kind of one of those situations where, as the events, we're doing more and more in every park now, which is great. And obviously, JC's going to see a little bit more foot traffic in general. But, us manning the stand specifically, the frequency probably isn't going to increase drastically. So, again, if we're going to shave any money, again, I'm more so in the, half now, half later type of camp, just to make sure that we don't expend everything that we have at there. 20% is a large sum to begin the year. So if we can, just shave Lions Park and JC's and move it to next year, and then just do the 3 restrooms that, again, either have the highest volume of traffic or have newer facilities, I think that's probably the path that I would choose. But again, I'm still also not necessarily not in favor of doing the full 5 facilities presented. So,
I think my thoughts. So the JC's, I think this maybe would buy us a little leniency with our parking problems there. If we have concessions, folks are coming and going less often and encountering any frustration with parking less. But if they end up parking 3 blocks away and they're mad about it, but they can get a hot dog and don't have to leave between games, right? We've eliminated a little bit of that friction. And so does that investment help buy us a little time for the angle parking, which I think was its own situation, or to find other options? I guess my other point is this feels like a great application of our long-term maintenance fund. Right, for our bathrooms, it's extending in the case of Lyman, right, a new facility, extending the life of that before we'd have to redo the floor. And for the concession stands, it's extending the life of those buildings as concession stands instead of saying, oh, well, everything's broken, we got to tear it down and build a new one. And we're spending some of that money to avoid a much, much larger investment. So I think we could make a case to the council that, hey, we need 14,000 and change to protect the investment in some of our newer, right? Kiwanis is new, Lyman is new, Lions we're just doing a giant sidewalk for. And then, hey, this is a little bit of money for our concession stands to keep the life of those buildings. From us coming to you and say, hey, the JC's concession stand building is falling down. Mm-hmm. They're not going to give us $200,000 for a warming house there, or $200,000 for anything. So like, I think that is a savvy use of that money, is to preserve what we have and protect it and reduce staff maintenance time, right? If somebody does something to the floor in the bathroom, it's going to clean up faster. It's going to stain less. I think it'll be less sticky. It can only be less sticky. So, I hope.
I agree, yeah.
So I love that we're having this conversation. This actually came up last July when somebody came to me and proposed sponsoring this. So I just reached out to them and asked if they're still interested in sponsoring it. And they were interested in sponsoring Lyman P. White. So you pull up that price? It was like just under
Yeah,
2,000.
it was like 19.
19, okay. Would the park board be interested in receiving a sponsorship and some kind of placard they would get that said, hey, we took care of the bathroom floors? Because the conversation happened, I'm looking back at it here, it's July 14th, so I think it was one of the concerts we had. Or
Lake Savory Music Festival or something.
July 14th, yep, is when it came up. And it was specifically this, but I think it's a great conversation to have, that we put in these nice bathrooms and then didn't really think about, hey, they're bathrooms.
They are bad.
And concrete is porous. So if you would be interested, I'd be interested in putting this person in contact with staff about that one in particular.
Yes. I love as many layers as we can add to pouring epoxy on our bathroom floors.
This is saving us money.
I'm all for saving money.
Somebody
but-
offered money.
So let's circle it all back here. So we are going to explore a $2,000-ish sponsorship for the epoxying of Lyman P. White Park. We'd like to explore utilizing our long-term maintenance fund for this entire project in general, I think is the sentiment here. Because I do think, to your point, it is a good application of this. As far as like maintenance is concerned, like overall like maintenance budget type stuff, this is an improvement. I mean, this isn't necessarily maintenance to me in general. So I think you're spot on with a request like that. So I think I would also like to explore utilizing our funds for that.
Cool. Jesse, do you want a motion to ask council or just direction?
Yes, we would like a motion to direct staff to bring something to the council requesting the funds that you're requesting.
Cool.
Okay. So, trident layers here. I will make a motion to direct staff to request the entire sum of $14,786.60 to replace all of the listed items under capital improvement. And then, we can solve the rest of the sponsorship thing after we know if council will give us this money under capital improvement. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'll second that.
Cool. Yeah, I like the way you worded it because council's not going to be mad if it goes down by $2,000 and it.
Yeah.
Then we're not like hooked on a timeline
Oh,
of.
you can spend less? Oh.
And then we can get the ball rolling on this and get it epoxied before everybody's using them in the spring, which is also muddy and concrete and mud don't get along. Cool. Any other discussion on Dave?
I just want to reiterate that I think this is great. I really appreciate that you guys are looking at this, and it is an improvement that we need. So it's a good use of funding for maintenance.
Improvement. Yeah. Very good.
It's maintenance.
Well,
Maintaining the concrete.
I would say it's an
Here's what I'll say.
improvement.
Here's what I'll
though.
say. Concrete that smells of urine is not good concrete. That is less concrete.
We got to dance around it all item.
You're
You make it
maintaining.
gross, but all right. Yeah, fair enough.
That's what the Metrodome is for.
Yeah.
All right. Any other discussion?
I got one, just
Yeah.
a question. Are we, when we're building this new one at Lum, are we figuring that into the cost right away? So we're not going back and redoing it?
You're referring to the shower building?
Yeah, as far as the epoxy floors in there.
We can include it with the project depending on how, obviously, the design and the cost estimate shakes out, depending on again, we have a pretty firm budget, so we would work within that. If that's what the park board wanted to prioritize over potentially some other, for, like new lighting, for instance, that would be up to the park board to determine if that was one thing you wanted to balance, or if we want to look to expend money in a different way through maintenance and repair budget or long-term maintenance budget, something separate from the project. We would look to the park board for that direction.
Cool. Good question. Yeah, because we know we want to do this. Let's do it going forward. Cool. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Gonna ask for some money. All right. Lions Park Playground surfacing materials, Jesse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So staff's been communicating with St. Croix as well as the Lions Club regarding their planned playground replacement over at Lions Park at Buffalo Hills. We've included a layout and concept from St. Croix based on their discussion with the Lions. Right now, we're looking for direction from the park board regarding the items that are included in the attachment, kind of specifically in regard to some of the previous park board discussions regarding not only the location of the playground, the surfacing materials. I'll note the location as shown in the master plan. It's kind of a low point, does catch quite a bit of stormwater drainage. I mean, if you go out there right now, the snow melt tends to just kind of gather there. It's a very low-lying area. It's a very small area in regard to what's available for flat area, I guess you want to call it that. Obviously, the existing facility, they have it kind of shown fitting within the kind of that footprint of where the existing facility is, so there wouldn't be impact to the trees there. So that's what they were recommending, St. Croix was recommending, was utilizing the existing facility. So again, location is a discussion as well as some of the surfacing materials. There has been previous discussion in regards to the ground surfacing material used. So looking for some direction from the park board. If you support the concept as it's shown, moving forward in full design, or any other direction from the park board.
Thoughts, questions, strong feelings?
No strong feelings nor thoughts on this one. I kind of enjoyed the, this is where they want, I mean, the playground was bigger than what the original plan scope was to begin with. And, again, we're putting this accessible sidewalk up to it all kind of just plays out right. Again, the unlevelness of it, I suppose, and being on some, we'll call it terrain, is, I guess, concerning, and with a lot of that drainage issues, I mean, are we going to run into problems with this turning into some sort of collection point for all of the water?
So just to clarify the questions, if it's constructed in the existing location, is there going to be issues, or if it would be in the location as referred to?
In the referred to, the plan here.
In the master plan?
Yeah, in this plan.
As of right now, it's a low-lying point. It does not drain very well. The problem is the groundwater is already pretty high. If you look at the low point we tried to artificially create on the east side of the two fields, we kind of dug out a low point for everything to kind of drain to. It's full of water now. There's very little separation just because it is naturally low-lying. So it doesn't flow very well from there, so it's a potential that would have standing water issues around that build, and that would be a concern.
Jesse, the poured in place rubber, that's not permeable, right? Like water's going to sit on that?
I believe it does shed water. I don't think it,
It just,
I don't think it infiltrates into it, or I would assume that they would plan to build it in a way that it doesn't pond on that surface.
oh, Dave.
Yeah, I believe that's the same material that's used at the one at Lincoln, correct? By the high school, the new Lincoln school? I want to say it's the same stuff, and so our kids use that quite a bit. It does a pretty good job. Sometimes the water will pool in areas, but not massive amounts. I don't understand what's underneath it. I assumed that there was concrete underneath that. Is there not a subsurface underneath that?
I can't say.
Okay.
It's not, I'm not familiar
It
with
feels like something that has like concrete under there, but I guess maybe not, because that would be really cost prohibitive to it. But it does do a pretty good job, I think, of that moisture getting out of there. The one issue that they do have is that they do collect debris. So we would need to be mindful of that in a treed area like that. It will probably need to be brushed off. The one up there, pine needle sentry. So just need to be careful about that. But in terms of holding water, it seems like it sheds pretty well. So
I guess it's kind of tacky, isn't it?
a little bit, yeah. You'll see pools on there, but not massive pools. It seems like it's pretty well laid out. Going somewhere.
Cool. I guess my thoughts, I'm generally on board with what the Lions are interested in. I think we've been transparent about the money we have to contribute, and if they feel like this is in their scope, I think this looks amazing.
Yep.
I think Lisa coordinated a meeting with me and some folks from there tomorrow to talk about some of this stuff, so that may be... Lisa, this is kind of what tomorrow's meeting is about too? Okay. So I might have more information to share.
Yeah, I think for that meeting, direction from the park board on these facets is going to be very beneficial for that conversation.
And I think, again, to your sentiment, I'd just like to move forward with what the Lions prefer. I mean, we'll warn them, of course, of any potential hurdles that might be from the placement and material usage. I mean, but again, part of the thought put behind a lot of this, it's a lot of money. I would imagine we would be checking our list maybe twice. But again, just we know the city and the park system, and our department knows it better than anybody. So just making sure that we relay this information. But again, I'm on board with, we've already had conversations about design standards and things like that. If the Lions Club wants to pursue this direction, I'm on board. So
Yeah, I think the important place is like the gold standard for an accessible surface. So if that is in their budget, I think all the better, as long as they're aware of any drainage issues, and maybe they do a survey earlier to make sure they have a plan for some of that. Cool. Yeah, I feel prepared with our direction for tomorrow. Jesse, Lisa, Kayla, do you feel okay about the discussion?
As I'm gathering, it's support the concept as it's kind of shown, and generally okay with the location as well in the existing footprint, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Find out if that is the same stuff, if you could. Find out if it is the same stuff that is over there, because it's easy for us to go. I mean, it's literally, right around the corner. We could easily go look at that and see right now if there's water on it. So
I believe it's a very similar material.
okay, yeah. It's good to have an example that you can go tactively look at. So.
Excellent. All right. So I think we're good on that. We'll do 8F, Park Board Calendar. So I can kind of talk through this one. So thank you, Lisa, for pulling that spreadsheet together. So the goal of this is to have a list for us of everything that we have going on in a year, so that we're both aware of everything that needs to happen and also not kind of missing out on things that maybe we don't do as often as we should that can bite us in the future. So there's kind of a few buckets. And I think for today and following this meeting, I want to focus on the list of stuff. We can tweak right when it happens totally. But just, are we missing things around the budgeting process or working with our partners that we need to know about, so that we can get all of that together. And then as I was thinking about dates, looking at this, right, it's kind of an overwhelming number of things, but I would rather us know everything that we're signed up for. So I'll just quickly run through it. Y'all can read. I'm not going to go through every one. But we have the capital budget process. The goal of that is to keep us on schedule for getting something to the council in a timeframe that's not stressful for us, not stressful for staff, and that makes us appear professional to the council. We're not sneaking in the last possible day to present that. So that's the capital process. The operating budget, this came out of kind of the revelation last year that we had been under hiring our temporary staff by quite a bit, but also then, hey, we need more park staff. So just making sure we're also thinking about the operating budget. I know, Jesse, you've done a good job in the past of preparing that and giving that to us, but I think making sure we're in the loop, however much you want us to be, about, hey, we need another FTE next year, and we're thinking strategically about that. For adult sports, I think it's really just the softball pre- and postseason meetings. Kayla, is there anything I've missed there for other meetings or team things? Cool. Awesome. And then our park partnerships. I think this is a good practice for us to start. I think this is a lot of work, but it's something that would kind of make sure we're being a good partner with our organizations that do stuff for free for us. So it's around meeting with them, I think once or twice a year, and then bringing that report to the board so that we are all kind of in the loop, but we have a person designated on the board that said, hey, you're the JC's person, you're the Lions person, so that we can funnel some of that communication and be on top of any funding requests, right? I think we had this challenge with the Lions. Hey, right, we want to do this big playground thing. Oh, it's right after a budget process. Let's wait 11 months. Kind of stinks if we can get ahead of that. I know Rotary, right, they have so many cool plans for the park. Being able to be in the loop with them of, do you want to do that bird watching post? That's cool. Let's just be aware of when we would need to ask for that money, grant timelines, everything like that. So that's all the park partnership stuff. Youth sports. I think we're all aware why we need to have this on the calendar, especially with those presentations and then reviewing the contracts and knowing when our partners' timelines are. I think that was a surprise of, hey, this pamphlet needs to go out mid-December, and we hadn't signed anything yet, which put them in a bad spot, and we're also in a bad spot. And then the ski loons, thank goodness this has been going well, just having it on the list. So if there's anything you can think of that's not on here, let's throw it on today, or think about it over the next month, and then bring any other ideas to the April meeting.
Yeah, and I think immediately it's just kind of when we were talking about consistency and like the ski loons type contracts, you know, we are working with the BBBA now and have a similar agreement, and then same with LASA. So those two organizations have a contract similar to operating like the ski loons have now. So again, as another park partner, partnership or usage agreement for our facilities. You know, whether or not we just need to designate somebody to come to some sort of meeting or have whoever the point of contact is, speaking with those people and just saying, hey, you know, this is how the season went. Maybe not even necessarily pre or post, but to your point with the loons, kind of just having anybody that signs an agreement like that, you know, we need some sort of contact with those folks and just information instead of just passing by staff once in a while and, you know, or have them showing up with some sort of gripe or whatever it might be, or, you know, and just kind of holding, again, people responsible to their contracts and making sure that things are running smoothly. So,
Yeah, it's a great one. Dave?
Yeah, just for clarification, is this meeting, like, your park board meeting, is that the month? Or is that like, you know, you're meeting with the partnerships or whatever on this month? It would be on the next, because I'd almost like to think of it from a perspective of for staff mostly. When do you foresee this being at one of your meetings? Because I would assume that you would have a follow-up at the next meeting. So for staff, if they need something ahead of that, they need to know when they need to have that done. So are you envisioning this as the park board meeting? Or are you envisioning this as prior to that? Like, am I overthinking this? But at the same time, like, I'm just thinking from their standpoint, like, I'm looking at Lisa. Lisa's got to get you something to meet with the partnerships, right? When does she need to have it? Because is it going to be at the end of the month, beginning of the month? Like, what are you thinking in terms of that?
Yeah, just looking back at the email I sent to Lisa, I had the exact same question in my head as I was writing this, and I believe I picked the board meeting.
So this would be the board meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, just based on your August timeline to have a capital request presented to council, I think lines up to that, right? So, because we would meet in August
Yeah.
that time as well, so.
Yeah, and that one might actually need to be July, because the deadline's August 30th.
Right.
I just want to make sure that we're like, because we're creating it right now, that we're just laser focusing on
Yeah.
when do you think that needs to be done? Like, what is that date so that we can work our way backward for staff so that they can have the things in line ahead of time for that?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, yeah, your original point was to not worry so much about the timeline, but it is an excellent point when
If you're making it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So, very good.
And I forgot one thing as well. So on the right side of the spreadsheet, it's a little bit past the month max. And past the notes. Yep. Cool. Thank you. So the other thing we have is keeping up to date with our master plans. So it's great that we have them. We haven't looked at some of them since Kevin made them, which is fine because they're not heavily used parks. My thought was every 3 months we're looking at one of our bigger complex parks. Every 4 months we're looking at our smaller, straightforward ones, right? Mississippi Landing, it exists. Great, we're done. And maybe some of those, right, we don't have master plans, probably fine. But just setting a schedule so we're looking at them on a somewhat regular basis that empowers our partner liaisons to know, right? Rotary says, hey, we want to do a bird watching platform. We say, great, master plan is nothing there. That seems cool. Versus, JC says, we want to do a ice rink in the middle of the baseball fields. Say, sorry, we've got baseball fields there. Bad example. But just doing that on a semi-regular basis, the goal would be we're getting through every master plan. We're looking at a park every 3 years, so that it's never too far out of date. If something comes up, right? Hey, somebody wants to donate this, do a project here. We're not like, oh boy, right? We haven't looked at that in 10 years. It's out of date. So that's the other thing to think about as well. So this is just kind of informational. Jesse.
One item I'd note for the park board to consider would be adopting the next year's fee schedule around October. I don't want to say it's a hard deadline, but we'd really like to have that established by the end of November. So if it has to carry over for further discussion into November, that way it gives us time to update the system with the new fee schedule for reservations when they kick off the first of the year.
Well, and I'd like to just point out, I know it's a little bit of a burden on staff, but I think a lot of this does boil down to when you guys have availability as well. Like when you look over the course of the year, is it going to be the appropriate time for us to sit down and talk to you about such and such a thing? I mean, there are obviously some really hard deadlines, but you certainly could assist in hey, when you're looking at over these documents, what's the preference of us doing the pre and post softball meetings and having a conversation about those and some of those types of things when where we can talk to partners or when would certain things be ideal for us to have conversations? And again, that will evolve as we kind of iron all of this out. But, again, direct feedback on we need to talk about this previously or during this time, it's really busy for us doing X, Y, and Z. Or, when can we talk? Because obviously priority wise, we need to get budgets done. We need to put structures out. We need to, all that stuff. But there are going to be a few of these things that we can be all right, well, this would just be, we don't need to do this right now. So let's work on it at some point. And again, the inner workings of the department are kind of your guys' specialties. So meeting with partners like the Soccer Association, obviously, if we're doing, a pre and post for the Soccer Association, there's a specific timeline and those types of deals are the loons. I mean, that's all kind of fleshed out now, but there are just certain things that internally, if you guys would struggle with a certain timeline to feedback on this is going to be really important for us as well. So.
Yeah, I think the most important part of this is that this becomes the model for when people in the public are able to come talk about things as well. I think the biggest thing I've been trying to push for this group is there are times in which it is appropriate for us to have conversations about X, Y, Z. And everyone wants something now, but we're so far ahead of where we have to be. We have to be 2 years on our budget, which means if you want to have a conversation about new tennis courts or whatever it is, you know, being able to put it to staff to be able to say, we have those conversations in the fall. You know, come back in January or in the end of July, we'll start having that conversation just so that they're aware and they're in a better position so that they're not always feeling like they have to scramble on something. Look, the park board has set up a schedule for when we talk about these things. You're looking at August for that.
Yeah, it's pitch month, baby.
It's pitch month, baby. Yeah, whatever it is. But
whatever it might be.
I just want to utilize this for you guys so that you know what's happening, but more so than anything, then our staff has something to fall back on as well.
Yeah, and I appreciate the time putting into a lot of this. I mean, you know, even a general outline's been pretty good. And I mean, to your point, keeping up to date, maybe assigning each of us parks or whatever it might be to take a gander at, you know, however we want to do it. But yeah, I mean, this is a great step in the right direction. So thank you.
Cool. Yeah, so for the April meeting, just think of anything else you'd want on here. Right, I think the fee schedule is great. January, certainly too late. And then, yeah, like an idea capital request window, I think is awesome as well. So that it's
5 years ago.
that too. Yes, so that's all I had. Feel free to email me or bug Lisa with ideas you think of, or just bring them to the next meeting. Yeah, that's what we've got for that. So we will go on to staff reports.
I don't necessarily have much more to add to what's in the packet. I will highlight one item. Park staff did start on doing repairs at the Bain Park rink. We are working with the Public Works Association of Minnesota. They're going to have their spring conference again this upcoming May. We've worked with them in the past. They painted the garage over at Mills Field. They've agreed to repaint all the boards over there at the Bain rink. So maintenance staff just did get started on doing those repairs to the wood over there, so that way it's prepped and ready to go for those folks when they come to do their volunteer project. And to be honest with you, I think it's probably the busiest season for recreation with all the signups. So I'll let Kayla highlight anything else that she has in the packet.
So I would just like to announce some upcoming events. So we have the Easter egg hunt at Gregory, the dog ball hunt at Buster Dog Park. That is April 4th. The early bird tournament scheduled April 25th, and then MS1 and MS2 leagues will begin April 28th and 29th.
Any questions about the staff reports? Just an impressive list of events you've got for this year. It's frightening just to look at, and you have to plan them also. Appreciate you.
Well, but it's also nice to see it for once too. I think historically speaking, now that you're settled in, historically speaking, we haven't really seen the top to bottom of what all goes on. I mean, and apart from that, I mean, whatever else is being just thrown in the middle of any of this other, nonsense. So, I guess not nonsense, but really cool to see the whole list for a change. So, thank you.
Perfect. We'll move on to, I think that was it. Yeah, board member reports.
You want to start with me? Yeah. So actually, I was. I think you brought it up today. The community garden thing was one of those deals where I had. I know we talked about this. We mentioned it was like 2 years ago, or I showed the post from 2 years ago. But I don't know. I thought somebody else was running that, not us. And I know we approved it to be run by us, but I was kind of curious as to. What that's looked like over the last couple of years. I mean, if we've just been filling plots every year and everything's been going great, no problems.
So I can clarify a little bit. We did send clarification over. Historically, that is an FFA program. We work with them. We've generally been the fiscal agent. We've taken in the cost of registrations and funneled that money over to the FFA, but it ultimately has been an FFA program. A couple years ago, we did let Chris Schubert at the time know that we were going to utilize our recreation specialist to kind of help push some of that information out, just kind of from like a marketing standpoint and help people be aware that we have a community garden. It's available for folks. But the intention was never that staff was going to actually run the program for the FFA. It is their program. That's where the funds go to, is the FFA. So we did clarify that with those folks, is that is the intent, is that staff really isn't in charge in administering the program. That is still an FFA program. We will continue to help assist with the funding that comes in for registrations, as well as helping kind of push out some of the marketing as well.
Cool. Add it to the list of partnership. Because, I mean, obviously it seems like not necessarily, I don't know if that partnership has been necessarily time intensive, but, I guess it's a conversation. We haven't clearly talked about it in a couple of years, that I was like, well, I better dredge through the Facebook page and see what we were talking about at some point. So, interesting. And then, for me, I was supposed to let, did you have another comment on the community?
I was just going to say, I was asked today specifically where to go to get that application. So they are supposed to come to City Hall.
There's a pile of them in my packet. So
I saw it now. Here, how interesting it is, how life happens.
We've got a
so
couple
fast.
of them, so they're available.
People come here. If you're watching at home, if you're looking for the community garden,
for the
you come
folks
here
at
to
home,
City
yeah.
Hall. That's where you get your application. Okay, now we know.
Very good. And then we dredged through a lot of the like downtown over the weekend, looking for a certain medallion that was discovered, beneath the snow. I don't know who's changing the garbages on the weekend. I just don't get it. Like they're just still full on the weekends downtown. So, it gets really bad. I mean, it's just mainly, honestly, there are two garbages that I've consistently noticed are full, and that's the one in front of the pit stop, and then, or is it in front of the pit stop? But and then the one in front of SC's. Like those things are just crammed full every weekend. I mean, I don't know how I know, but but that particular weekend it was the same thing. We've talked about this for the last 2 months, and they have been full on the weekends again. So
I can clarify, we do contract with Waste Partners to do the removals downtown, and that cost is assessed to the property owners, the adjacent property owners, as part of the special assessment district. During the off-season, when there's not as much foot traffic, that schedule changes to about once every other week for pickup. Okay. During the peak season, when obviously there's a lot more foot traffic, it is a weekly pickup. City staff has once in a while helped out when those issues have come up to go pick up garbage and pick up cans. We have had issues in the past, and we still do have issues where folks are that potentially live in that area, rather than depositing the garbage into the dumpsters that they should be. They end up in those smaller cans. So that is something that we have to constantly address.
Yeah, and I think, as far as clarity was concerned, we didn't really know the frequency or like who the contractor was. I mean, again, so I appreciate you clarifying that. I'm just one of those things where I just, walked the city all weekend long. It was like, man, when they're not gonna be emptied out on Friday and they're still full on Saturday, there ain't nobody coming to get these. So, that was kind of one of those scenarios. But otherwise, I mean, inside of the park, because everybody was all over Lyman P. White on Friday. The garbage cans were great. I mean, and the park was in pretty good shape for being the end of winter. But it was just another one of those things. Like, if that's something that we did, and I think that was the question, that's why I bring it up here, because originally the comment was like, hey, we empty those garbage cans when our contractor doesn't do it. So now that it's clarified, very good. And we'll just continue to try to combat that, maybe. With another garbage can across the street or something. I don't know. Interesting. So very good. Thank you for the info.
I have a couple things from JD. Let me just read it so I do it justice. He noticed some holes in the ground at Bain Park from some utility work in the area. He was just interested in making sure they get sodded up when they're done. Actually, that was his only thing. So, but yes, that's from him. For me, one question for the board. If anyone would be opposed to moving our June meeting 1 week later, we have 5 Tuesdays in June. We're going to go on a trip. Think about it. I can ask April. Oh, my other thing, I'm going to miss the April meeting. I have ask at the May meeting. I have a work meeting that got scheduled before I started the job, so I couldn't shuffle it. Otherwise, I appreciate seeing the garbage cans out in the park. I thank staff for deploying those. So that's great. Oh, I did have another thing. Sorry, this is just all over the place. The play structure in triangle. There's stickers on the posts that say these should be buried, and I can see them on just about every post. So I don't know if we need mulch there. I don't know if that's like a support thing or a child could fall farther than it's designed for thing, but
You will look into it.
thank you. I mentioned it last spring, and yeah. Anyway, that's all I got. Anything?
You know what? I got nothing. Let's go home.
Looking for a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Sure, second.
Somebody's got to do it.
Quick before Dave thinks of something.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned. Thank you, Max.